Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout for Bramble Fox. I'm using the May Fox box and I'm focusing on the title that says The Great Outdoors and the trees as well. So I have the tree trio and I have the two little trees as well, the separate ones. So I'm using Simple Stories Safe Travels, which is pretty new. I'm lucky to have it. I am using one of the chipboard frames, but I have 3 photos, although actually I do end up only using 2. But initially I had 3 photos, and none of them fitted inside the frame. So I just thought that I needed to reduce the size of that element so that frame couldn't be that big. So I chopped it down and then I kind of stuck it back together again so that I didn't lose the tree. I'm going to add my photo inside that frame. So I've just created a much smaller frame out of a very wide one. So I like how that looks. I don't quite get the photo in centrally and then it sticks and won't move. But you know, these things happen and it's really not the end of the world to have a slightly wonky white border. It does look all right. It does look okay. But it's one of those things that's slightly irritating, you know, when the tape takes hold, you're like, oh no. So I have these 3 photos. One is large, and then I have the 2 smaller ones, one of which I've just put in the frame. And I'm trying to figure out if I can fit them all onto this one layout. And the answer is no, I can't. So I'm going to leave the big photo for another day. I'm currently thinking about it and trying to work out if there's anything that I can do, but actually the answer is definitely no. It's just not going to work. It's too big, especially now that I've added the photo inside the frame. So I have the frame that needs to sit on the layout and be on full show as well. It's not like it's a layer that can be tucked behind. So I'm currently looking for different ways to use my pattern paper. So I've been, on a bit of a mission to use more patterns for my backgrounds, and I have really succeeded. I've done a good job of doing that. But now I'm a bit fed up of just including a large, kind of mostly torn strip of paper across the layout. So here I am playing with paper layers, trying to work out if there's a different way of including 2 different patterns without it being in one big block at the top, the bottom, or the side. So I've chosen to go for this kind of central design. I have one large piece. I had initially thought it would be a square, but I've cut it down so it's a rectangle. And I have this smaller piece to the left, and that is where my photo is going to sit too. So I end up with quite a bit of pattern paper on the page without using a full sheet as a background and without having one large piece sweeping across the page in some way. So I'm just, I do a lot of scrapbooking, an awful lot of scrapbooking. So there's only so many ways you can arrange paper onto a sheet of paper, right? So I'm always looking for new ideas or trying to just think in my mind of new arrangements of what I can do with papers that's not the same old that I do all the time. So I thought I'd try this. It looks all right. I'm okay with it. It looks fine. Bit different for me, but it's okay. Normally I would have layers and layers, But yeah, so I've got these 2 big pieces or mats, and I'm going for it like that. Okay, so I have the offcut from the frame, so I'm going to use that over on the right-hand side. I'm also I have distressed the edges of all of those pieces of paper. I've also just now cut 2 of the tags from the tags paper. So Simple Stories are doing these fabulous papers in their collections where they have tags with icons or phrases on one side, and on the other side they're just pretty patterns at the top of the tag and the rest is white. So this was a good opportunity to use those white tags and bring in a little bit of white space onto the layout. It's only a very tiny amount, but just bringing in that pop of white against those 2 patterned backgrounds that are next to each other really works. It kind of gives a bit of separation, and it means that I can write my date on there as well later on. So that's what I've decided to do, is leave the larger photo for another day and concentrate on these 2 smaller photos. But now I have the issue of trying to fit in the small photo as well. So, I'm like, I started off with 3 photos and now I'm down to 1, and there's debate whether I can fit the small one in as well. But actually I do end up doing it. So I'm just trying to find something to mount the photo on right now. I end up going for this blue tag, but I can't just get a full blue layout outline all the way around the photo. I have to have a bit of the pattern in as well, just because of the way the tag is designed. So that's okay. I've got a bit of the globe at the top of the photo, but no one will notice. I'm just going to distress the edges of that as well. And now I have to work out where to position it. So I want to position it kind of there, but I've got that little tree in the corner of the frame that I didn't want to cover up. So I'm just trying to work out if I can fit that in without covering up that tree. And I also want my title, my Bramble Fox title that says The Great Outdoors, to fit on that blue, bluey green mat of paper rather than go over onto the green piece as well or spread over into the white. So I'm just playing around with those and trying to figure out how it will all look. Okay, so I've skipped forward now and I have done machine stitching around every layer of paper and the tags. I've also added ribbon and a tie to one of my tags, and I've added a little bit of pom-pom trim to the left of the frame. And it's all stuck down. And you can see that I just about have managed to fit in that second photo to the right of that frame. And I've got the tree poking out. So it's covered up a little bit, but not that badly. Also, I had to compromise a little bit on The Great Outdoors. The title has had to go slightly over onto the green. I could have moved the whole thing over and had a lesser wide margin on the right hand side. But for some reason, I didn't, and I ended up with a wider margin on the right. I was expecting to kind of come off the white with the trees and other things, and I do extend that little design over to the right hand side a bit more, so it does close down that gap slightly. But I look at it now and I think, well, why is it not more central? But it's already stuck now, so I'm going to have to just go with it. Okay, so just adding some embellishments now. I'm using the Simple Stories Safe Travels, so I'm pulling out a few bits and pieces that will work. Obviously, these photos are from the woods in our local area, so they're not holiday photos at all. So the Safe Travels collection isn't actually the ideal collection to use, but it was probably the best I had to go with these types of photos. So yeah, I just had to be careful about which colours I picked out and then be careful about which embellishments from the collection that I used. Obviously, these Bramble Fox trees are so unbelievably perfect. I love these trees. I love the finish on these perspectives. It's kind of like a matte finish. It's really lovely. I love it. And it stands out so well against a pattern paper. So quite often I struggle with, for example, white perspectives. If I layer those onto pattern paper, you just can't read them properly. But this really solid dark green on top of those pattern papers works really, really well. And you can definitely see it. It's very readable. So that makes me happy. I didn't have to mount it first. I've added in the two trees above and to the side of The Great Outdoors, and I've added the trio of trees to the left-hand side as well. So just adding now some little label stickers. They're not stickers actually, they're from the ephemera, and they just say, love this life, explore, and so much fun. So those all work really well with these photos. I've added in a couple of arrows down the bottom right there. Over on the left, I've added in a camera, a little ticket, and a banner sticker that says wild and free. I now just want to add in a few sequins. So I've pulled out my stash of Spiegelmum scrap sequins and added a few of those in. So it's actually a little set called Into the Woods, which is a wood grain set of sequins. So I've used those and also some turquoise ones with some rose gold in, because they go really, really well with this collection. So yeah, so I've just sprinkled those on. And now I'm going to spend a little bit of time getting all of those stuck in place, just using glossy accents. I'm just going to move them around a little bit and make sure they're all sitting where I want them to sit. Yeah, so I use my paper piercing tool to move them out of the way, add a spot of glue, and then push the sequin back into place. So that's how I do it. That's how it works well for me. I did try one of those tools proper tools designed for something like this, but I could never get on with it. So, so just coming in with a few splatters of Shimmer's paint now. So I've got a pinky corally colour that goes well with this collection. So just adding that in, just a few splatters there. And unfortunately, I had one that dripped down at the bottom there, so I just had to wick that up quickly and try to get rid of it. And it's okay; it doesn't show too badly. So yeah, just wiping off my stickers and perspectives where I didn't want the paint to be. And now, after I've done my splatters, I've realised that I need to write my journaling in. But I've obviously done my splatters already, so I'm just very worried about smudging. So I'm going to keep it very short. Just says, so much fun at Aldenham building dens in the woods. And then I'm writing my date up on that little space up there. And that is my layout complete. So make sure you check out the May Fox box. It's full of fabulous, fun, outdoorsy things. Yeah, I absolutely love it. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this layout. Yeah, thank you so very much. That was Nikki Rowland for Bramble Fox.